Do. Good morning, good morning, good morning. ah, it's a bit gloomy today. The sun has gone away and today is rainy. So, pardon the lighting. It is a little bit gloomy today. But today we are on day 17, which is pretty exciting that we've made it this far. It's pretty exciting for myself that I've been this consistent, right? So I want to say thank you for showing up and fueling this joy and fueling the work. Because I'm like, yes, people are showing up. Damn it, I'm going to show up too. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. It's wild. Let's Have the Conversation podcast has never been more popular. So thank you. And I want to check in. How are you guys doing? What's new? What's going on? Share with me in the comments how you're feeling, how you're liking it, what's going on. Tiffany says, thank you for doing this. It grounds me every single morning. You know what? Hardcore same friend, right? Because I go, usually what my routine was is taking the kids to school and then sitting for about an hour, smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee. Like, what just happened? Because that's what school run feels like to me. Like, oh, stunned. Um, but this has been something completely beautiful and transformed even my mornings. So thank you, right? It gives you something. It's difficult being an entrepreneur, right? Because you have this ability to kind of show up when you want, how you want, where you want. But then it also leaves you floating and ungrounded. So thank you guys for also grounding me because now I do my school run and I kind of get back and I'm like, this is nice. Let me make my tea, get on here and chop it up with you guys. And I love that. So thank you. So today, this is a fun topic. It is day 17, power sharing and moving beyond hierarchies. Heavy, right? Our entire life is about hierarchies. Hold on. Mary says, I really am appreciating this program, both live and on the replay. I love that, Mary. I hope it does land the same, like with the same energy and feel when people replay it, right? Because I want to bring that energy. Tiffany says, I own my own biz also, so I like this routine of coffee, cats, and Des. Oh my God, that sounds like an episode, Tiff. Okay, coffee, cats, and Des. Yay! So our life is full of hierarchies, and I'm always like shouting somebody out here because I have an amazing community of people, right? So sustainable solutions. Right now, him and his nesting partner, if you are familiar with polyam terms, have a YouTube called Sunshine and Shan. And it talks about the hierarchies that happen within those intimate sorts of relationships and just like polyamorous dynamics and more. Shanae Kendall Jackson, yet another amazing polyamorous educator who breaks down hierarchies and intimate relationships. And you would think, Shanae and I have a couple of episodes actually here where we spoke, because you would think, what the hell does that have to do with decolonization? But it has everything to do with it, right? Because decolonization is every single aspect of our lives. And our home life really winds up mimicking the outside, or the outside is mimicking our home lives. It's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? And here we are. So today we're talking about power sharing and moving beyond hierarchies. And your three takeaways are: one, power hoarding perpetuates supremacy culture. Two, shared power creates space for collective liberation. Three, power sharing requires vulnerability and trust. I love those. Like, can you feel the difference? Like being vulnerable, showing up, trusting people. It's really a powerful, powerful thing to do. Good morning, Carolyn. Carolyn says, I've been catching up on the replays, but super happy to be able to join this live this morning. Well, I'm super happy you're here too, Carolyn. Thank you for listening to the replays, and thank you for showing up here live. I am planning something today after this. I'm going to Sea to Star in Decatur. I don't know if any of you are in or from Atlanta, but I go to seed to start and get my Reiki. And I will be planning some in person community building stuff. So I really hope that if you are here, you are able to come out, because that is what I want to do more this year, is kind of do some more in person stuff where you guys can actually practice community building, right? Like, let's practice making some community agreements. Let's practice having community discourse and, and some dialogue around things. And let's practice conflicts, right? Because conflict is the scariest thing. So I believe that if I can hold you guys in a safe container, we could practice conflict safely. So stay tuned for that. And Carolyn, I hope, if you are here, you come. And if not, you could find a way to get here, because I'll be doing things. Okay, so let's go over this. One, power hoarding perpetuates supremacy culture. Supremacy culture thrives on power being concentrated in the hands of a few, often through hierarchies that silence, marginalize, and exclude others. As an example, in workplaces, decision making is often restricted to leadership teams without input from employees who are directly impacted by policies. Does this sound familiar? Can we see, as we are doing this work, how these systems are not isolated? They are not individual. They are replicated in every single facet of our lives. We could see that in our home, right? I told you guys I work with three different things: home, work, self, because these are those three pillars of decolonization for me. So you could see how this is mimicked in your home, right? If you have a quote unquote traditional family system, if you have adults and children in your home, you will see how your decisions impact your children. And often we don't even think to question them, right? We say we want to move to a certain school district for them to have a quote unquote better education without thinking, would they like to be around friends instead of just a better school district, right? Because we can't just rely on the school system to educate our children. Or we decide we are going on a vacation and sometimes they're not involved in where we're going, or just our daily to-dos, right? And they're not involved. Same, we're watching with the government. They're just like doing whatever, and we're just like sitting there like, okay, we are at the mercy of this hierarchy in every single aspect of our lives, which then leads for people to hanker for that upper position, right? Them hierarchies of whiteness, that pyramid scheme that's America. You will step on people, you will disconnect from people, you will stay in isolation, because all you're trying to do is move up the rungs of those ladders, because power only exists up there. But what we're not paying attention to is it's never meant to be here. And somebody has to exist in this area. It's a must in order for these systems to go. You're going to love a little piece that I'll be releasing later on today, where I was talking about wealth redistribution as I was sitting here in my house thinking. I was sitting here and I was talking with my mother-in-law. We were just talking about house taxes and everything and how to explain things to the kids. And I'm like, you never own anything in America, right? I'm busting my ass, or we're all busting our ass to have something to pass on. And then they're going to have to do the same thing and continue to bust our ass paying taxes that keep going up and up and up. I'm not getting any more land and I'm not getting any more house, yet my taxes keep going up, right? And then you sit down and you're like thinking about it, and it's like, what does wealth redistribution look like? So I actually did the math, and it's quite interesting. Um, with all of the billionaires that we have globally, they could redistribute 500,000 to every single non-millionaire person and still be billionaires. So it's just a way, like a thought experiment that I did to show that these systems are working exactly how they are meant to, right? We're not going to reform this, guys. I want to remind you guys every so often that the work that I'm doing is not to reform the current systems. They are working. Poverty is intended, it is intentional, because you need poverty in a classist capitalist society. So there goes my little rant on power hoarding and hierarchies. Point two, shared power creates space for collective liberation. When power is shared, communities can build systems that are inclusive, equitable, and sustainable. As an example, community organizing models that models that rotate leadership roles or use consensus-based decision making exemplify shared power. So what does that mean? For myself in Make Shifts Happen, I have multiple admins. And when I was on Mighty Networks, we all had our own separate groups, right? Um, and I deferred to them on certain things, right? Like, oh, you should ask this person, or how I always shout other people out because I'm not seeking to be the end all be all. I talk about this often because Americans, very specifically white Americans, are primed and ready for cult behavior because it is a cult you've been indoctrinated into. Whiteness, it is. And you find, and you're trying to leave these unsafe communities and now trying to create communities or become a part of communities, it's very easy to be led astray. And if you see that power is being concentrated within one person, within one space, without it either being delegated, offered to another, or saying, hey guys, chime in, it is unsafe. That does not lead to collective liberation. And that's going to lead to probably the head of that person being liberated in some sort of way in capitalism, right? I tell people consistently, I can make all sorts of things and charge all kinds of money, right? Because you can exploit people where they are their weakest. This is an easy sell, right? And if they're not trying to create equity, if they're not trying to say, hey, tell me what you need, that's community, right? I can tell you what I think y'all need. I know what I needed. So I'm sharing what I needed and hopefully it helps you. But if I'm not saying, hey guys, so what do you like? What do you think? What's happening here? And that's at home, that's at work, that's within politics. I need your voice because if I'm here to actually serve, if I'm here to actually guide, how can I do that if I can't hear you? Right. So that's that consensus based decision making. Right. And everybody then feels a part of it. And everybody plays a part. We cannot pretend that the pinky toe is any less important than my right eye because my pinky toe keeps me balanced, right? Just as important. There are no two smaller parts in community. We need all of the parts. We need all of the parts of self. We need all of the parts of humanity to create something different. Because again, we're not trying to reform these systems, friends. They are working. What we are watching is how well they work and how diabolical, as the kids say, it has been and how well it's worked over thousands of years. It's just replicating itself over and over and over again. And we, the people, come into alignment. We come into agreement with it. And that's why doing this work is about making new agreements and saying no more. We're going to do something completely different. So that is going to be how shared power can shift that dynamic, homework within self, touching those parts of yourself, even, right? Like if you have some inner child trauma that's happening, trust yourself, right? The other day I was talking about, bringing back trust into yourself. If I know this is going to activate something in me, if I know that this is going to bring up some type of pain and trauma, I'm going to listen to that part of me. And I'm probably not going to do it, right? Or I'm going to do the best that I can to prepare that part of me, right? That's that shadow work part that comes into liberation.